UFC 308 is in the books. What a card that was, hey? What an absolutely crazy main card especially. You know, the prelims, we had a lot of decisions, some interesting fights as well on the prelims, but on the main card, it was absolutely fire. The top two fights of this pay-per-view were enough to carry it to the end. You could not put together two better fights for a main and a co-main event. Like we talked about coming into this event, it was absolutely fire and it delivered. You know, these guys left it all out there and provided a really amazing show out in Dubai once again. Ilia Topuria and still moving to 16-0. What a record this guy is putting together. Him defeating now Max Holloway by knockout, Volkanovski by knockout. Those two names for the featherweight division over the last 10 years, they have ruled the featherweight division. Now, we have some new blood in town. We talk about superstars, the birth of a superstar. Ilia Topuria is here. Everyone knew how skilled this guy was coming in. He had a lot of haters though, you know, and there's two ways to go about that. You can become likable on the mic, which sort of is the reason he has a lot of haters, because he says a lot of controversial stuff. And maybe in English, it not being his first language, can be sometimes misinterpreted. The other way to gain some fans is to just beat everyone, so there's no doubters left. And that's exactly what Ilia Topuria is doing. What are you guys going to say about him now? I know he's not, you know, I know he's a very brash, arrogant, confident guy, but isn't that what McGregor was? Everyone likes to say that Ilia Topuria is a McGregor copycat, but the guy now is a superstar in his own right and building an absolutely incredible legacy. Like we said, the first person to ever finish Max Holloway with strikes. We knew the danger for Max coming into this fight. We talked about that. Topuria's power is different in this division, but to see it, it was pretty tough to watch. Max Holloway, we've talked about at length this guy. We love Max over here. Everyone loves Max, you know. Max Holloway is an OG, an absolute gangster in this game, the BMF champion, with great right, you know. How many times has Max Holloway provided amazing, electric, exciting moments in the UFC? But tonight, it was Ilia Topuria's night. He shows us once again levels. For a guy coming up in his career, 16-0 now, he's putting all of the pieces together beautifully. The guy is as well-rounded as you could get. Starting his career, jiu-jitsu specialist, and now he looks like Canelo out there. The confidence he has in his power, you know, the love he's found for his hands and his striking ability is so dangerous. We talk about Max Holloway having an absolute steel jaw. Tonight, Topuria cracked that and put Max Holloway out. The fight was really entertaining for as long as it lasted. You know, I thought both guys had a great performance, and that's what we wanted to see. Each round, both guys adjusting, both guys getting to show us really interesting parts of their game. You know, Holloway kicking a lot, but still landing really nice boxing combos. But once Topuria lined him up with that right hand, got him hurt, it was all over. Topuria sets himself up for absolutely huge fights. He's going to have to do the Volk rematch, I think, which, you know, will be a big fight. But after that, if he can get through Volks again, the sky is the limit for this guy. And Max Holloway, you know, for a guy who has rebuilt so many times in his career, will have to rebuild again. But I want to see him go up to lightweight, get Max up to 55, stop cutting all that weight, and rejuvenate yourself up there. Go for a run up there, because he's jumped up a couple of times for a few one-off fights. But I'd love to see him just build up to a lightweight frame. You know, someone like how Poirier did it. The guy killed himself to make featherweight, and you look back now and you go, how the fuck did that guy ever do that? Lightweight, clearly Poirier's best division. And I'd love to see Holloway go up there and stay there. Find some momentum at lightweight, because I think he can do some amazing things in that division. Let's go into the co-main event. We talk about superstars. Khamzat Chimaev wins back all the hype. You know, the guy was a bit quiet over the last year, and I think all the fans felt it. People were jumping off the train. Coming into this fight, I specifically had a lot of questions about Chimaev. like most people did, especially in a fight against Whittaker, someone who there are no questions left around this guy's mettle and what he can do at the top of the 185-pound division. But Chimaev proves us all wrong. Once again, steamrolls Whittaker, breaks his face. Officially, it goes down as a neck crank, but you call that a face crank. He broke his jaw and Whittaker tapped quick. You could see the pain. That was a shutout. That was not close one bit. I thought Whittaker, how long he's been in this game, how much of a veteran he is, his anti-wrestling, I thought he would be a bit more competitive than that, even in the grappling ranges, but who is going to stop Chimaev? Let's get him into a title fight. Could you imagine him versus Dricus du Plessis? Sign me up. That fight would be absolute fireworks. Khamzat Chimaev comes in, steamrolls Whittaker, and like I said, the Chimaev hype train is back in full steam ahead. It's so funny in MMA. It's all about your last performance, and what better last performance than dusting Whittaker? This will elevate him straight to the title shot. I would not be surprised if he jumps Sean Strickland and moves straight into a title shot. And I would not even be mad. We've seen the du Plessis-Strickland fight. Yes, it was competitive, but who doesn't want to see new blood, Chimaev just in there with du Plessis, two buzzsaws going at it for 25 minutes. Sign me up. I would love to see that fight. It's a tough one for Whittaker, who, coming to the end of his career now, but still, like we've talked about, has hung around right at the top, only loses to the best guys. But tonight was a really tough loss, breaks his jaw, dislocates at something. The photo, his face was destroyed, man. Whittaker, heal up, my brother. And of course, you will have the MMA community's full support because Whittaker is an absolute legend in this game. Magomed Ankalaev, he improves, beating Rakic by decision, unanimous decision tonight. In a bit of what can you even say about this fight? We sort of expected this result, It was a bit of a bland performance. Yes, Ankalaev is very technical, very skilled on the feet, but he needed something big, a really big performance here to just get the fans hyped for this title fight. There's no one else for Pereira to fight now. Ankalaev deserves the shot. He's gone through more than enough contenders. Anyone really excited to see that headline at pay-per-view? I know we're all going to watch. There's probably going to be a bit of bad blood, and Pereira always brings the excitement. But Ankalaev's in a really interesting position because winning isn't the issue. The guy wins. He is really skilled, really technical, and really well-rounded, but just cannot seem to have that breakout performance. Rakic, he's in a really odd position. The guy hasn't won a fight now, I think, since 2021, had some injuries, and now a couple of back-to-back pretty disappointing performances against two top guys in this division. So Rakic, he has to sort of step down now in competition, get a couple of wins, and get his mojo back. Because like I said, he's just been struggling to find that consistency, and he needs to get a win. Lerone Murphy survives a terrifying moment at the end of round one and comes back and wins really, really good decision over Dan Ige. Dan Ige is someone in this division who is a real check. A check if you are ready for the top of this division, because Dan Ige, like we saw in that first round, is really, really dangerous. He hit Lerone Murphy, drops him with a beautiful slip under, counter left hook. And Lerone Murphy did a great job to survive because he looked out. At the end of the fight, he talked about it being a flash knockdown. And yeah, it was a flash knockdown, but he was completely out for a second there. Like we talked about, he rallied, wins the second and third round, shows his complete skill set, and shows his heart to get through a really tough spot, beating a veteran like Dan Ige. And I think he's ready for the top 10 now. He calls out Josh Emmett. What a fight that would be. Sign me up. Josh Emmett, another guy who has bricks in his hands. And you have to be on your P's and Q's, because if you stand in front of Josh Emmett, like we saw with Bryce Mitchell, he's going to send you to the shadow realm. So I would love to see that fight for Lerone Murphy. Dan Ige, a guy who, bit of a gatekeeper of the top 10, He had a really good streak in the UFC a few years ago, but has struggled now to put consistency together. And I think that's 6 of his last 7 or 6 of his last 8 that he's lost. So Dan Ige needs to go back to the drawing board and, find what it is that is bringing him to the table. Because I know he's an exciting fighter, but is that all he wants to be? I think there's more inside Dan Ige. And I think what got him to the dance was to be the best. So I'd like to see him change it up a bit and mix it up and have another run, Dan Ige. Dan Ige, you always will have a fan in me. Like I've said in the past, you are an absolute savage. And again, showed a really good account of yourself. I thought he got a little bit tired, in that second, third round. There was probably a huge expenditure of output. Dropping someone like that, thinking you have the fight over with, and then having to fight 10 more minutes. No wonder he looked tired. But Lerone Murphy moves on, really tough test, passes with flying colours, rallies. It would have been one thing for him to win this comfortably all 3 rounds, but him showing his heart, having to recover from a moment like that, was a really, really good sign, and moves forward in an amazing division. Only really great matchups next for Lerone Murphy. The Pirate, Shara Magomedov, Bullet. What was that finish? Like a double spinning back fist. He's coined and patented that move, and it's all yours, my brother. I've never seen that before. That was a beautiful performance. He got touched a little in the first couple minutes, but once he found his range with those kicks, the guy is so creative in there. What a joy to watch. Someone from Dagestan who wants no part in the wrestling, just wants to put on exciting kickboxing fights. His kicks, the speed on those kicks is just a thing of beauty. The way he throws them, the biomechanics on those legs is fucking wild. The guy throws those kicks with incredible speed, and the power, wow. Petrosyan, someone who's, kickboxed his whole life, and he looked like a deer in headlights when he started getting touched. Magomed did a really good job with the hands as well. He really impressed me tonight. In a favourable matchup against another striker, but passes with flying colours. Could you imagine him versus Adesanya? What a fight. Sign me up. Shara Bullet, he's coming, 4-0 now in the UFC, and I don't know if he can only fight in Dubai because of that eye. I would love to see him in there again soon, didn't take much damage. Guy's building some great hype and momentum, he came in with a lot of hype, and 4-0 now in the UFC. Great performance tonight, his best to date. The finish was beautiful. Fakes that first spinning back fist, doesn't land it, comes back. Beautiful. Second spinning back fist, drops him, walk off KO, all she wrote. Like I said, I would love to see him in there with Adesanya next. Anyone in that sort of that top 10 to 15 of the middleweight division. Absolute barn burners for him from now on in. RDA on his 40th birthday suffers what looked like a blown out knee and some brain damage. The sport is so unforgiving. For a legend, a veteran, a fan favorite like RDA, just goes to show you there is no soft landings, especially in the UFC. Jeff Neal looked on tonight. His boxing looked beautiful. That first knockdown was perfect. When Jeff Neal's on, he's like really inconsistent, but when he's on, that guy is a world beater. Beating Bilal Muhammad, great names. Tonight, it looked like worlds apart on the feet against RDA. Stuffed the takedown well, dropped him, and then once RDA injured himself, it was all over. So really unfortunate ending. But Jeff Neal picks up a very needed win after a couple of tough performances. So he gets back in the winners column. But like I talked about, RDA, there's just no soft landings. Like, what's that? 12 months out, 10 months out for knee surgery? Hopefully not. RDA, happy birthday to you, my friend. I hope you have a speedy recovery. Like I talked about, when we talk about legends in the game, absolute OGs, there's no one that fits that title better than Rafael dos Anjos. So really tough to see him in that spot tonight. And like I said, heal up, and whatever he chooses to do next in his career, we will all support that, I know. There were some other really interesting performances on the prelims. Oral by Rebecca, that fight was a barn burner. Go and watch that fight. We talk about heart. Mutek Oralbai, the guy's eye was falling out of his face. It was completely closed up, destroyed. And he had the heart to fight another 10 minutes and arguably won the fight. What a crazy fight that was. Go back and watch that one if you guys missed it, because those guys left it all out there and pushed each other to the limit. So go back and check that one out, guys, for sure. Thank you so much for joining me. 308 is in the books. What a crazy event. A real early one for me, so I'm going to go catch up on some sleep. But if you guys could like, subscribe, I would really, really appreciate it. We're almost at 100 subscribers now. That is mind-blowing to me. So thank you guys so much, and we'll chat soon.